friends, it's Tracey from Tea Time with Tracey and Violet. Violet is behind this big stack of books standing there, right there. And I'm sitting in my kitchen today because it's cold outside here in Nova Scotia and I got the fire going. I got a sweater on and I just want to be nice and cozy, So I thought it's December 1st. I want to get a video up the very first day of December, last month of the year. And I'll go over what I read in the month of November. I had a pretty good reading month. So I just want to go over it, but I want to show you this. I've been waiting all year to use this beauty. Look at this. Looky. How festive, huh? Oh yes, I don't know if she's old, but she looks old. Like she's kind of tarnished a bit, but she has gold up at the top, or maybe she was meant to look that way. I don't know, but she has a secret weapon right there. Gold down at the bottom and gold right at the, well, 2 rings at the bottom there. And this is the back side of her. She even has some bells and whistles. She has gold down the side, gold down this side, and gold up around the top and right on the tippy top, her shoulder pad there. So, and then this is her skirt or pedestal. You'll probably see this teacup quite a bit this month. I might have one more Christmas one, and I do have a Christmas teapot, but I'm not using that today because I have to dig it out of my cupboard, and I didn't feel like it because I've had a busy morning. So I'm actually brewing some tea in here to pour in there. I'm having herbal tea, honey bush, mandarin, and orange. Oh, I thought I got a cinnamon spice one, but that's okay. Twinnings. And I'm just dying here. Now, I'm probably gonna make a mess. Partially. But, oh, let me just see where she's from. Yuletide, Queen Anne, bone china, fine bone china, England. Then it has a number 3 and a marker number 3 there. So, yeah, anyways, I just thought it's 5 to 1. The kids are all at school and work and stuff, so I can talk about the books that I read in peace. Oh, that's delicious. Delicious. I should have brewed a pot because that's really good. I'm not going to go into great detail what these books are because I do want to do individual book chats about them with you. When I read enough books, I'll try to do recommendation ones, but I'm more of a just like, I want to talk about the books that I read and you do with it what you will, that sort of thing. So the most recent one I finished was Prisoner by Annika Martin and Skye Warren. I think Annika Martin is a pen name for somebody else. Anyways, this Carolyn Kane, aka Carolyn Kane. So there's 2 books in this series, and I read them out of order. I didn't realize. Oh, the other one isn't here. Oh, yes, it is. It's right here. I read Hostage before I read Prisoner. But really, Prisoner comes before Hostage. And although Hostage has a little bit of spoilers for the first book, it wasn't like such a big deal sort of thing. But anyways, Prisoner. This is a dark romance. And this is about a girl named Abby, or Abigail, who she's probably around 20, 21. She had a rough growing up with a mother who always had loser boyfriends with alcoholics or drug users and whatnot. Anyways, she finds herself all alone, but she's been working hard. She is in college now. I think she's in an English degree, teaching degree or something like that. And she's going on practicum. So you go out into the community to, there was some people going to nursing homes or seniors places or I don't know, schools and stuff. She was assigned to go to a prison, like federal prison. And she's a timid little young woman, but she wears glasses. She looks like one of those, what you think of as a librarian, you know what I mean? Like the bun and the glasses and the little skirts and stuff like that. Yeah. Anyways, the first day she gets there, she's really timid and scared, and she doesn't want to be there at all. She's working on trying to get switched to someplace else, and to keep it short, she ends up deciding to stay there. And what she's doing, she is teaching a class on, I believe, creative writing, and she's getting them, I think there's 16 people in a class, all federal inmates of serious crimes. And there's one person that wiggles his way into this class, and that's, his name is Graydon. Oh my God, I just finished this yesterday. I'm just nervous, I guess. Anyways, Graydon is the male person in this, and he is a big, brooding, beautiful, scary looking guy, and he wiggles his way into this class because he's in jail for killing a police officer, apparently staged, framed for killing a police officer. What you learn about him, though, he had an absolute horrendous growing up. He was kidnapped when he was 5 years old. Him and a group of boys locked down in this basement for 6 years, and they were tortured, sexually tortured, by these prominent men in the city, politicians and the such, until they finally escaped in their early teen years. Now, I don't know if there's more books coming out in this series, but this is the first book, and he was framed by the governor, so he would be put in jail, and the rest of the boys that had been kidnapped and locked down in that basement with him, they're like a really tight family now. On the run, they completely disappeared, sort of thing. They do have one headquarters that they have, and now they're grown men. They're not young people anymore. They're in their mid to late 20s. And when he's in prison, he has no way of reaching his brothers because he's been completely cut off. His way of trying to get a message to his brothers is to get into this class, do a creative writing thing, send it in code, and the story goes from there. So after all the pieces come together, he gets a message out, and there's a breakout from the jail, and she's going out to her car at one point, and Graydon breaks out of jail, and that's where their worlds collide. So I won't get into it anymore from there, but it's quite a dark story. It's an absolute captive story. I want to say look up trigger warnings for all these books because I'm not going to remember them all. But yeah, a lot of heavy sexual wrongdoings in this book is what I'll say. But I'll get into it more when I actually talk fully about this book. So that's one. Book two to that, again, they're two different stories. This has to do with another boy that was locked down in the basement. And his name is Stone. And this book is about this young girl. She's 16 years old. She's brought up in a wealthy neighborhood, but really her parents are house poor. Her father's like a construction person, and her mother is like one of those society people that go out, put on airs and that sort of thing. So she has parents that love her, but they're very distant. You know, they have such high expectations, you know, stand up straight, have the finest clothes, where they buy knockoff clothes or those clothes that need to be mended and dress her up like she's a doll for the public sort of thing, to keep connections. And at her 16th birthday party, she goes outside because she hates what she has to do and how she has to act and things. She's witness to a man being beaten to death out behind this big building where her fancy 16th birthday party is. And he abducts her. So this, again, is very dark and twisted. But I enjoyed this, and I enjoyed this. But, yeah. Dark. Pretty dark. But there's a good storyline with it. That's what I like about some dark romances. They're not insta-love at all. But really, really enjoyed it. And I do plan on having videos coming out about these. Another one I read, this was a reread. I know I put a video out, I don't know, last week. And I said that I'm rereading all of Immortal After Dark, or some of them, because Cressley Cole is having a new book come out January 25th. I'm so excited. And I did a video on Warlord Once Forever, and I read that this month. So I'll talk about that in a sec. But that was the very, very first book in the series, and it's like a novella sort of thing. And then this is book 1, A Hunger Like No Other. And this is about a vampire and vampire Valkyrie, like she's half Valkyrie, half vampire, and a lichen, like a werewolf. And he's the king, Lachlan. And Lachlan and Emma. And in this world, lichen have fated mates, and Lachlan is held beneath, like in the catacombs of France, locked down, chained, mortally burned. And one day Emma is walking by, and Lichen have such a strong sense of smell. He smells her, and that's her fated mate. The thing is, Lichen and vampires are mortal, like to the death enemies. And he doesn't know that she's part Valkyrie. And since she's his fated mate, he hates her, but he can't kill her. And he abducts her too. There's a lot, but this is paranormal. Very good. I love this series, and I can't wait to finish reading more until I can get to the new one that's coming out in January. I'm excited. I just put a video out about this the other day, The Road by Cormac McCarthy. A fantastic post-apocalyptic book. You guys, well, maybe you don't, but probably heard of this. There's a movie out about this, and it's about a father and son in a barren, burn ash America, and they're trying to avoid the very there's nobody around. There's no animals around. There's nothing. There's no food. There's no electronics. There's nothing. And it's cold. It's like October, November. So this was a perfect read for me this time of year. And he's just trying to stay alive and keep his son alive and get to someplace warmer without being caught by some of the other straggle people that are around that are terrible, terrible people, cannibals and torturers and just not good people. And it's absolute heart punch kind of book. Highly recommend. I did a video about this one, Mountain Man prequel, and I really like this book. I'm starting on book 1 to this, probably today. But this is a zombie apocalypse book. This is as the apocalypse or the zombies start. So this isn't after, it's current. It's just kicking off. And this is based in Nova Scotia. It doesn't, I don't think, actually say that, but it references points around where I actually live. So it was so cool to read this because I felt like, oh my goodness, I know exactly where that is, and I know exactly where that place looks like. And anyways, so cool. It's about a middle-aged man. He's kind of overweight. He's a hard-working painter. No fuss, no muss, you know. And him and some of his co-workers are called to a late-night kind of painting session. And all heck breaks loose. So that's all I'll say about that. If you like zombies and you like, you know, mayhem and gruesome stuff, that's a great one. This is another book I read. I know I'm trying to speed through these or it's going to be a super long book. Violet. A Feast of Snakes by Harry Crews. Oh, I forgot to say, this is by Keith C. Blackmore. Harry Crews. This was a really disturbing, twisted kind of book. I enjoyed it, but it was weird, but not in a bizarro way. It was just, it left a stank on me. Like, I'd have to shower it off of me a few times, like if I was sprayed by a skunk. But it's based in Mystic, and it's a hot southern little hole-in-the-wall town, and it revolves around this snake festival that they're having, and people from all over the country, and described in this book like they're whackers crackers, kind of just low, beat down, gritty people that had hard upbringings. But there's a lot of trigger warnings for this, specifically animal abuse. I hate it, but the book, I'm glad I read it. It's quite, if you're looking for a disturbing stank of a book, but kind of interesting, this is a good one. So, oh, this is the one, I haven't read this one yet, but that's the one I plan on starting today. So I just had it in that book. Another one I read was The Terror by Dan Simmons. I've read other Dan Simmons books, and I'd like to do videos about those, but I read them a while ago, so I want to reintroduce myself to them again. But The Terror, I see a lot of people that read horror recommend this, and I'm just like, oh, I gotta see what this is all about. This is about expedition in the northern Arctic of Canada, like up, well, past Baffin Island, I believe. Like, I should have. In 1845, the Franklin expedition. Yeah, 2 ships get locked in the ice, and they're there for a couple years. And oh my goodness, it's quite something. Now, I use the audiobook for this too to help me get through it. I really, really, really like Dan Simmons, but his books are intense and they're not fast reads at all. So I've read this physically, but I use the audiobook sometimes, like if I was driving or if I was cleaning or when I go to bed at night, I'd listen to it a half hour. It's a chunker of a book, but I will have a more in detail video about this because it's quite something. But if you want a cold isolation book, this is a great one. Great one. Another video, I got videos out about this, is the Pike and Pawn duet, Dark Romance, by T.M. Fraser. And this is about, oh gosh, I read this a couple weeks ago. A pawn shop person. He had a rough growing up, extremely rough, and he's using his pawn shop as a front for running drugs and things like that. Although he does some bad stuff, he does care about his community and, you know, helps where he can, but not on the surface. He looks like a big meanie, because he is sometimes. She had a well, I don't want to say a good growing up. She didn't have a bad growing up. She had 2 parents that loved her. She had 3 sisters, and at the beginning of this series, she's found wandering on the road, all beat up, looking haggard, and she doesn't notice anything. He pulls up to try to help her out, she's walking on a barren road, and like, do you need help? And she's like, no, my family's right here, but really they're not there. And you don't really know, is she seeing a ghost or is she not? Like, what's going on here? And fast forward a couple years. Oh, just a minute. Yeah, I was running out of space on my phone. But fast forward a few years, and they cross paths again with her and a few other masked men trying to rob his pawn shop. and there's more to it. I'll put the video I did about this down below, along with the Feast of Snakes, Mountain Man, the prequel. Yeah, and any other ones that I already have videos out for. But they're trying to rob his pawn shop, and he ends up snagging one of them. The rest get away, and lo and behold, the one that he snagged is her. And the story goes from there. I really, really, really enjoy all of T.M. Fraser's books, and highly recommend this for a dark romance. Yeah. Next is The Den of Vipers. Oh, yes, yes. I read this book. This is one of those ones I read back in the summer, I think before I even started this channel. And I used the audiobook this month just to reacquaint myself with it so I don't miss details. And I do have a video coming out on this. This is an extremely dark book. It's a reverse harem. It's about 4 brothers. They're not actual brothers. Well, 2 of them are, but and they are a crime family. It's not specifically mafia, but organized crime, and they're wealthy. They rule the roost in their area, and it's about a woman named Roxy who runs, it's kind of like a dive bar, but it's her pride and joy. She had a horrible father. Her mother was not in the picture, but she ran away from her father when she was a teenager, and this dive bar owner, an older man, kind of took care of her, and he passed away. She took over the bar, and she's determined to keep it afloat because she loves it, and she loves the man like as a father kind of thing, or a guidance person who passed away. And she is one hard mofo. I think she's hilarious. She is. I really, really love the first bar scene, and if you've read it, well, if you know, you know. She kicks a bunch of guys' asses, really. It's awesome. But her scumbag of a real father ends up owing this crime family a huge debt he can't pay, so he opts to give his daughter away, his estranged daughter that he doesn't have any contact with, and they go to collect, and she's one tough cookie. And yeah, trigger warnings though. Trigger warnings. There's a lot of smut in here, but there's a pretty good story in here too. It's a big book, but I have to say the book is fantastic, but the audiobook was fantastic too. The people that did the audiobook, I forget what their names are, but when I actually do a book talk about this. Are you all right, Violet? I'll make sure I have their names proper because they deserve it. They did a fantastic job. But anyways, Den of Vipers. So like I mentioned, I read another Immortal After Dark book, Warlords Once Forever. And it's a paranormal romance. It's, I think, around 200 pages. But it's about Mist, the Coveted, who is a Valkyrie, and Nikolai, who is vampire, but not one of the bad vampires. He's a forebearer. He was a human-made vampire. And they first meet. She's held in a dungeon by the bad vampires. Violet. And Kristoff, he's one of the army. He's not the leader, but he's like one of the big ones. And go take over this bad vampire fortress and find her in the dungeon. And they want to use her to get information. And it goes from there, and it's quite steamy. It's pretty funny, and I really, really enjoy it. Really enjoy it. I do have a video about that too. I'll put it down below. The last book I think I read today, or this month, or November, it was an audiobook. It was like a 5, almost 6 hour audiobook, and I listened to that. It was the day in the life of Ivan. It's a Russian last name. I'll put a picture of it right here. Yeah, and it's a fictional book based off of fiction, I believe. It sounds like it's fiction, non-fiction. It's a fiction book based off a non-fiction book. Yes, I believe this man actually did go to jail, but the scenarios that were in this some of it was fabricated, or maybe it wasn't a specific day. I don't know. When I actually talk about the book, I'll know more details. And it's pretty much in one of the Russian gulags. And I went through a phase. I got really interested in Russia, and I think it's a beautiful country. Or, you know, there's so many beautiful people there and stuff. It does get a bad rap for the political side of things, but anyways, I fell down the rabbit hole and learned a whole bunch about gulags and different things like that. And anyways, he was stuck in one of these wrongfully, or, you know, oftentimes people were put in jail for tiny things. And it just goes through a day of life living in a gulag. And it was heart-wrenching. It was cold. It was, yeah, I enjoyed it. It wasn't like, oh, a light read or anything, but yeah, I just thought I'm gonna listen to that and see what it's like, and I like it. Yeah, so I would recommend it if you're interested in that sort of thing. I believe that's everything I read this month, and I will have videos coming up, more videos coming up about the books I just mentioned, because I need to talk about them a little bit more. But yeah, and I'll probably revisit a few of my books, like I mentioned, that I've read, but I haven't done videos about them. So I'll revisit them either audio wise, or I'll reread them. Like I did A Hunger Like No Other, because books that I've already read, I find I can breeze right through, and I can get the feel like I'm back into that world again. And yeah, anyways, so that's all I have to say today. I still got to start making supper. I still have to do other things, and I just wanted to get a video out the first day of the month. So I'm going to see if I can squish some more videos in this month. It's going to be a busy month, big family, lots going on, and I don't know how much reading I'll actually do in December, but we'll see. But for this month, I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, 12 books. Oh, that's what I did last month, I think. I think it was 12 books I did. So yeah, on par with last month. I don't think I'll get that many this month, but just with the holidays and everything, but I do plan on reading. That's my enjoyment time. So with that, I'm going to say have a good night. No, I'm going to say peace, love, and happiness today and every single day. Please like, share, and subscribe if you so choose, but if not, that's okay too. I still love ya. I still want all the happiness in the world for each and every one of you out there. I certainly do. I really, really honest and truly do. Yes, I do. So, all right, guys. Well, with that, I'm going to say have a good night or have a good morning, and I might see you tomorrow. Bye. Bloop.